guys, so I was tagged by Kayla over at Mrs. Bookaholic to do the Book Confessions tag, and I will link her video down in the description box, but I hope you enjoy the video. Question number 1, have you ever damaged your own book? No words are necessary for that question. Question number 2, have you ever damaged a borrow book? And this I can safely say I have never done. I'm very careful with library books and books that people have lent me. Although once I did have a library book from the university where the hardback fell off, but this was not my fault. It was just an incredibly old book and it was literally between me carrying it from the shelves to my desk. I take no responsibility for that. Question number 3, how long does it take you to read a book? Now this really varies depending on the book and also what else is going on in my life, what I've got to do, but I'd probably say on average about a week. And the reason I probably managed to read a little over one book a week on average per year is because of graphic novels. Question number 4, books you haven't finished. Now there's tons of books I haven't finished. I am very much somebody that just puts down a book if I'm not enjoying it. I do not force myself to read books I'm not enjoying, so there are plenty of books I have not finished. There's also the books I'm currently reading, because I usually read 2 or 3 books at a time, so they're not finished. But I'm going to also share with you a book that I haven't finished, but that's not because it isn't wonderful, and that is Angela Carter's book of fairy tales. I've kind of been reading this book on and off for a couple of years now, and it's a collection of fairy tales from various different cultures around the world. What I just really like to do with this book is dip in and out of it. Maybe every month I read a story, or sometimes I sit down and read a few stories at a time and then don't pick it back up for 2 months. So I haven't gotten around to finishing this one yet, although I've loved everything I've read in it so far and just quite like having it around in my bedroom, ready to just pick up if I'm in the mood for a fairy tale. Question number 5, popular books that you didn't enjoy. Like I said, I tend not to finish books I'm not enjoying, so there's a couple I can think of that I didn't actually ever finish, which would include Wuthering Heights, although, like I said, I'd kind of like to give that another shot. The Book Thief, which I just didn't enjoy as a story, although I almost got to the end of that one and then just couldn't be bothered. I tried to persevere because it was so popular, but just wasn't for me. And another one that I couldn't finish, which everyone seems to really like in the graphic novel genre, is Sex Criminals. Really just wasn't enjoying it. Question number 6, classics you didn't enjoy. Well, I'm going to go for ancient literature in this instance because there's definitely more things from antiquity that I don't enjoy that are regarded quite highly, and absolutely despise Aristotle. Now I've read a lot of Aristotle and he's incredibly useful for the stuff I study. I actually use him a lot, but I find his prose so dull. I just think he's such a dull writer. Again, what he writes about is interesting, the information he provides is interesting. But the way he presents everything just makes me want to gouge my eyeballs out. Question number 7, books you bought for the intellectualness of it. I really find this question quite difficult because I can't really think of anything. I'm not somebody that generally gets pressured into feeling like I need to read a book because it's a really popular classic. I haven't read things like Catcher in the Rye or Great Gatsby, or I do want to try and read Ulysses at some point, but I haven't bought or done it yet. I think maybe the closest I could think of is buying Vladimir Nabokov's The Enchanter. Now, this isn't Lolita, but everybody talks about Lolita and how it's a phenomenal piece of literature because it's so beautiful, but it deals with such a disturbing topic, and that is paedophilia. The sound of that book does not interest me in the slightest, but because people talk about it so much and as if it's just something you should have read, because it's like a really important piece of literature, I guess, I decided I would pick up The Enchanter, which is a book Nabokov wrote before Lolita, on the same topic, so it also deals with paedophilia. The prose is gorgeous, like his writing is stunning, the topic is incredibly disturbing, and I don't know if I want to read Lolita after actually having read this, because this is a lot shorter than Lolita, and I don't know if I need to now read a much longer book about the same topic. Although I would quite like to try some of Vladimir Nabokov's other stuff because his prose are so beautiful. If it wasn't for everybody talking about Lolita, I probably never would have picked up this book. And the last question is, any books you haven't given back? And this does apply for a couple of my parents' books, but I don't feel terribly guilty because I actually live with them at the moment, so it just means that these books are on my bookshelves in my library instead of on my dad and mum's bookshelves. One is the one I guess I kind of feel more guilty about. and it's The Penelopead by Margaret Atwood. This was technically my dad's. He lent it to me when I was about 13, 14, whenever I first read it. Loved it, never gave it back to him. Have taken it to all of my student flats, and it is now back in our house but on my bookshelf, and I don't think he plans on rereading it, so I'm just going to keep it because, you know, it's my favourite books. And the next one is one I don't feel so guilty about, and it's another Margaret Atwood book, and it's A Handmaid's Tale. Now technically my dad bought this for my mum because my mum really liked the film of The Handmaid's Tale, so he bought her the book so she could read it. She tried to read it, couldn't really get into it, so I was like, I'll read it. I hadn't seen the film. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I really like Margaret Atwood. So I read it and kept it. I've since then asked her if she wants it back to read, but she's like, no, I don't think so. So it's mine now. But those are all of my bookish confessions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye guys.